Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Lucid. We are hopping back into Lord of the Flies with Lemuria. The cancer that is our nation has set in upon the world, and it's turn 82. So without further ado, let's get into it. You know, we have our normal events, and fortunately we're only attacked by a gore-tide horror. And you know it's kind of bad when you're happy your pretender is getting attacked by a full-on horror and not a doom horror. So yeah, things have basically come to that. Shadow Tribune is getting kind of murdered by a disease demon, and I was kind of thinking about it. If you're playing Lemuria, you're going to be fighting most likely Blood Nations. And if you're doing that, this is one of the most debilitating spells. I mean, this is the most favorable circumstance for us to be fighting a disease demon. We had 3 of our troops join us as bodyguards. We're fighting underwater, so he can't fly and just snipe my dude. And I'll put it fast forward. We still get wrecked. Now, there's a chance we actually win this. It's probably like 1 in 10. Or maybe a little higher, maybe 1 in 5. But not very high. This guy has high magic resistance, so the weapons aren't going to do much damage. And then he has 2 attacks, which are magic, so they're going to pierce ethereal. So yeah. What we could do is if we had a Thug Bless, we might be able to kill him. And I'm thinking the Thug Bless that would do it would be like something that is going to give protection, because he doesn't have very high damage attacks. So maybe like Bark Skin, and then either regeneration or awe. Probably Bark Skin regeneration, maybe. Yeah, maybe like Bark Skin regeneration, defense. I don't know. I think you need something to kind of buff up your protection. If you watch my Ulm game, we fight Lemuria in there, obviously, and we use disease demons to great effect, and that is against a Lemuria with a very good Thug Bless, which I think is a better build than I'm using. I think it's a significantly better build. I do like recuperation though, but anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I would really have to test it, but it would be worth testing. If any of you have tested what types of bless make you immune to disease demons as Lemuria with your little Shadow Tribunes, put it in the comments. Because I think it is not an insignificant thing at all. This is one of the spells that's just crippling for Lemuria when it comes online. Because even if you can, like, your enemy can only cast it once per turn, it's pretty cheap. It's like 8 to 15, I can't remember right now. Well, we can look it up. It's Infernal Disease. Yeah, it's only 5 Blood Slaves. Now, it's a high path requirement, so, you know, you're going to have some boosters most likely to cast it. And it's not that high, right? But once it comes online, even if you only have 1 Blood 5 guy who's dedicated to casting it, with 5 slaves a turn, you can really just shut down most Lemurian raiding, and that's because each turn you're going to almost guaranteed kill an enemy commander, and then you can move in units to go wipe out whatever troops are there. And the significance of that is you're not guessing where they're going. Like, you know, if I was raiding Midgard here and I had troops right here, he could just kill my little commander and then move guys in to kill me. Whereas, you know, he would have to wonder, okay, am I going to retreat? Am I going to move and attack a different province? And which province would I move to? It's really hard. You know, he could do magic phase attacks too, but if you're not doing a magic phase attack and you're not... But even a magic phase attack, if I knew he was doing that, I could put all my troops on retreat. Yeah, if they snipe my commander, it doesn't matter. My troops go off script. Yeah, so very, very strong. Now that said, if you're Lemurian, you want to counter that. If you're in a province that you raided and you put all your guys on retreat and you put 0 PD, not 1, then if you get attacked because there's no commander in the province, your guys will just retreat, and they're not mindless, so they're not going to disintegrate on the battlefield. Okay, so we had the Dire Portent. Blood Vortex dispelled Mother Oak, so that's unfortunate for us. Blood Vortex is it's not a spell that you see often. I've probably seen it, this is probably my second time seeing it in a game. It's a really weird spell. If you cast it, so Midgard cast it, so let's say he cast it, where would be a smart place to cast it? He could cast it like maybe right here, or something like that. And what it's going to do is this province and all the neighboring provinces are going to have all the population sucked out of them. So they're going to basically be kind of turned into a wasteland as I would make them. It takes a while. It takes about 15 turns. And all the population that got sucked out will be turned into blood slaves. I'm not sure the conversion ratio, like if you look at how many blood slaves you get over the whole course of things, you know, if it's worth it, or like, you know. In general, I've heard it's not really worth it to generate blood slaves, and then kind of destroying all this population is a big deal. You could potentially see how you might want to do it if, for example, you gatewayed an army in. Like one turn popped, or not gatewayed. What is the spell under thaumaturgy? If you did astral travel or something like that, you brought this huge army in, and nobody was expecting it, onto a fort, like a random fort inside the enemy lines. One turn popped it, boom, you're inside. They can't do anything to stop you. Being inside their fort, they're like, okay, we'll just take it back, right? And then that turn, you have somebody else who got, you know, zapped in there who's a blood mage. And you have them pop out Blood Vortex, which is hard. You have to be Blood 7. So you'd have to have a pretty powerful dude that you teleported in with that group. But they drop Blood Vortex, right? The enemy army's moving in to take you back. You gateway your troops out, and you gateway your other dude out, and then boom. The enemy, even though they got their fort back, you basically destroyed, you know, potentially up to like 5 or 7 even provinces, depending on how many neighbors you got. And meanwhile, you're going to get a huge amount of blood slaves. So that would be a very interesting tactic. I've never seen it, but it would be cool. The other thing, and this is really how Blood Vortex was used, I think the player... I think actually at this time he was on holiday, and he had somebody else subbing for him. And that person subbing for them thought, hey, we can, if we cast Blood Vortex, there's a bunch of spells up by other people, it's going to override one of them. And so basically we can use Blood Slaves to dispel one of their spells. So that is a legit use. But you don't see it very often. Anyway. Moving along, we had another Disease Demon murder a Shadow Tribune, so that's number 2. Our King of Mountains got attacked by a horror. This right here... Wait, no, I think this is Sin Lesser Horror. Yeah, okay. So that was Sin Lesser Horror here. Which also is a very good way to raid Lemuria. Lesser Horrors will do a pretty good job against light PD. Again, watch my Ulm videos if you want to see that used. Because he's doing a kind of good bit. Like 1, 2... He's casting in this 2 times per turn, which is a lot. I mean, not a ton. It's enough to be very discouraging of me raiding. And then 3 is for 1 Lesser Horror cast a turn. If he could get out to like 2 more Lesser Horror, like have 2 or 3 Lesser Horror attacks a turn, that would be good too. Okay, we got attacked by the Hunter of Heroes. So yet another Doom Horror. You know, I try not to leave you guys wanting for Doom Horrors. You know, every turn we're gonna at least show you one of them. And then we're gonna pop down for the battles. I think for the battles we're just gonna go to the strategic map. I'm gonna try to kind of pick up the game pace here. So Utgard was just pinging me with the scout. One of the things he's been really good about doing this, like this scout battle. If I have 0 PD, he's been sending scouts in to take the province. Let me double check and make sure that's what happened. Or maybe we just patrolled him. Yeah, okay, never mind. We patrolled that guy out. But he has been using scouts to raid if I don't have any PD. And like this is a very reasonable sized little raiding party. Right, so he's got this Jotun Jode, he's got this guy who has pearls, so he's probably going to do... I'm not sure what he's going to do. He might do anti-magic. Okay, no, he's not going to use... Okay, but he gets murdered here, actually, which is kind of funny. And you can see, actually, this good mix I have of troops plus these paralyzing dudes are kind of shutting down their front line, which was kind of the intention. But they're regenerating. Like, even when they're shut down, okay, we're going to sit here and pound on them for a while, but how are we going to hurt them? Well, we're not really going to. We can't really do more damage than they regenerate. Okay, we kill one. And there we go, and we break. So that was Teleto? Did we kill one? We killed a Jotun. Okay, this had different RNG, but anyway, I think in the battle we killed a Gam herding here. It has us killing different stuff, but basically killed all my things. Which, yeah, that's a little... it's a very efficient kind of raiding party. And, oh god, so many things. So, we'll start up this way and we'll work our way backwards for the battles. And what's important here is he's trying to cut off my retreat routes. And the other thing he's doing by attacking me in so many places is he's making it very difficult for me to get my guys and to reinforce armies from all these different forts. Like, he's got a ton of guys just pinned up in forts. And all they can do is fight this little army to get out, and they can't kind of combine forces, which is probably what I would rather have them do. So we'll start up here and we'll kind of work our way down. So I just left a couple guys there. I didn't think I could take that. Here, he is trying to take this fort from me, and he has this big nasty dude. I cast Darkness, that's not really going to help here, and I have a Grand Lemur moving forward. He is on advance and cast spells, so hopefully he's not only going to cast Raise Dead. We see him doing Raise Dead. We don't see Drain Life or anything that would be actually useful. Okay, there goes Drain Life, but then he just regenerates 18 a turn. So just the random casting every once in a while is not going to be sufficient. We do not see him casting Enslave Mind or Soul Slay, which would actually be really good here, even though, I mean, this guy does have really high MR, so I understand why it would not choose to cast it. We do have two guys, and some of them are casting Drain Life now. So it's, if I got lucky with my scripting, or not scripting, with the AI casting, they would go in enough. And you can see some of these. What are they? Oh, Unholy Powers. Light protection. We'll just go at normal speed. I'm not sure what these. There's some kind of astral effects popping up on the sky. I'm not sure what they're casting. Okay, so there goes an enslaved mine. So they are mixing in some of the things that could potentially kill this guy. Yeah, 22. So he's going to probably get some afflictions too. And actually, yeah, with the chest wound, which is going to increase his encumbrance, we can see he's fatigued out. Oh, in this case, we actually got him. How about that? I wish I got him. That's not actually how the battle plays out. You can see how it actually played out. And that was kind of how I thought it would play out. I mean, like, come on, man. I Power of Sphered him. Come on. Like, cast some useful stuff. But the way it actually played out, this guy actually won. Killed everybody. You know, sad things. The way this can happen is if he just makes it to the end of battle and I don't kill him, then all my guys are going to rout, and being defenders inside a fort, they are all going to die if they rout in a fort attack. So that was how that battle played out in real life. But you can see I had a chance of actually capturing him or killing him. But the problem is you're relying on what the AI is going to choose to cast, and then you have to get pretty lucky probably on an MR check to kill him. Can't remember, do I have... Yeah, I have Disintegrate too. So it is MR negates also, but it's probably cheaper once I'm in range than Soul Slay. Not sure why that didn't go. But anyway, so that was this one. We lost this fort. So it's important to remember when you're fighting Lemuria, you are fighting forts. And he's doing an excellent job here keeping my forts locked down. Lots of appropriately sized little groups. He's using super combatants to great effect. Yeah. So I'm using my Fairy Queen here with what is kind of a low commitment army, so it's probably a problem. So let's see what we're going to be casting and who we're going up against. We've got a little Communion Death Ball, and this is not a lot of troops for a Communion Death Ball. We got Mass Protection out, and there's a super combatant here. That's not going to bode well. There goes Cleansing Water. Mass Protection not helping. He has Mass Protection up, which is probably enough to make it so our guys don't get hurt. We can see Fog Warriors helped kind of with that Cleansing Waters. Took the edge off of it. I think the first hit didn't do nearly as much damage as we saw before. And I actually think well, I don't know, killed a couple guys. I think... I don't know, I think a lot of times it just pops it, whereas before it was just killing them. Not totally sure. I don't know, that kind of killed a few dudes. So, not looking good here. This front line is really holding. So that's pretty damn efficient. I mean, we killed some Gam Herdings, so there was some attrition. And then he has enough to kind of one-turn pop my fort, so he waltzes through here, and I know he won't have any trouble with that. So let's take a look at what the final reports were for Janumia. Our Fairy Queen, I don't believe, died. Yeah, she retreated successfully, so that's nice. But you can see we didn't really... We killed a couple Gam Herdings, but that's not very much. So that army is undeterred, running forward. So far we've lost 2 forts this turn, which is very, very good for him. If he can keep taking forts from me. That is how you need a couple fort-killing armies, and you need to be pinning down other forts so that they can't kind of move troops, and that is exactly what he is doing. So this is not good for us, guys. Not good. The other thing you have to do, and this is a little tricky when you're fighting Lemuria, is you have to keep the forts you take. And they're going to be very difficult forts to hold once I have gotten rid of all of the population there, because you can't have PD as a living nation in a fort with no population. So you have to keep some troops there, and then I can potentially like raid you and stretch you thin and all of those things. But you know, you have the anti-raiding tools like disease demons and send horror and things like that, which can make it very hard for me to kind of raid you. But that's kind of the balance, the other thing you have to do. So he's pushed me out of up here. He's taken 2 of my forts. He's moved troops on top of here, which are just some foul spawn dudes, and this fort has finally popped. It is ready to be breached. We did have a big battle here, though. And... oh, no, we didn't. We just attacked him. I think he had... I can't remember. Did he pin this army in last turn? Anyway, we have broken out. Or maybe we had moved them here from his cap and moved them up this way. I think that was what happened. And so now we're going to... we'll talk about what this army's going to do in a minute, because we've got some major troop movements here and here. I think I just want to go real quick through all of the... So this is another one of his raiding squads. This one has a little communion, you know, some foul spawn. They have not popped this fort, but there's kind of a lot of them. I don't know if they're going to sit on it or move farther forward. This group, they have a fairy queen and a vampire lord. Okay, there goes Witherbones. I don't know if the Witherbones happened only when he was off script. But Witherbones is actually really good. If you're a living nation, and you have like a good, strong living front line, let's say you're not relying on Skelly spam or something like that, you can just drop Witherbones all over your front line, and it's going to kill all of the Lemurian troops, but spare your guys. So, that's basically it. Here, we can see he almost popped this fort. He had 1 wall integrity left. And that's because he has a lot of these Jotun hurlers. This is why Utgard is actually kind of good against Lemuria. They have these Jotun hurlers which can very efficiently pop forts. And the 1-turn fort pop is just so debilitating if you're fighting Lemuria against them. If you have a nice efficient little mage ball to fight back. And yeah. I think the efficient mage ball you want, yeah, is probably casting Dust to Dust or Witherbones behind a good front line. I don't think there's much Lemuria can do. If you have, ideally, you also want to have relief up for important battles, like. The thing with Utgard too, and I have to worry about this, I mean, he can come in here for this throne. You know, potentially he could also march his way into my cap and take it, and then any of the immortals he kills will be permanently dead. And that is a real threat if you're fighting Utgard as Lemuria, them kind of deathballing into your cap. And you can see just kind of the momentum that these guys have. Like, I mean, these guys are... like, this army is going to be really hard to kill. And I haven't fully figured out how we're going to do it. We're going to talk about that. So, I think that's most of the battles. Let me just scan through here and make sure we didn't miss any big ones. Here's a little thug battle. Godhaven? Okay, right here. This is the other thing he's started doing pretty well, is using these thugs. And the thing is, this guy with a Bloodthorn and then some decent gear, no amount of little ghosts are gonna hurt him. Now, if I bring one Grand Lemur, I can pretty much be guaranteed to kill him. You know, Drain Life, Spam, or Disintegrate, or Enslave Mind will kill him, but no amount of Ghosts, really. You can see he's not even regenerating, like you don't see the regen numbers popping up, and that's because his hit points are higher than base, because he's just nailing people with the Bloodthorn. Unfortunately, you can still get afflicted this way. I think it doesn't really make sense if your hit points are higher than base, how you get afflicted. So it would be kind of cool that if you can keep your HP above base, that you don't get afflictions. Anyway, that's not how the game works. So we can see that was successful. Coming down here, let's just make sure we didn't miss anything too important. This is important. Down here with Ryla. This looks like a little Firestorm army. We've got these Vine Ogres. There goes Firestorm, and all of our guys die. I mean, we kill a fair amount of the Vine Ogres. But yeah, that happened. Yeah, almost all the Vine Ogres die by the end of battle, but he kills all these guys. Not a horrible trade. 400 dudes. The thing is, yeah, I think I generate at this point like 500 or 600 ghosts a turn. So, I mean, this is a big chunk. Like, if you can do this every turn, and especially it's a multi-front war. Like, I'm fighting this guy, I'm fighting Utgard. You know, my troop level is like, we'll take a look at them. They're gonna probably dip this turn. Yeah, you can see I'm kind of gradually losing troops. Now, I still have a lot. But if this were to, say, go on for like 5 or 6 more turns, like, I could start being pretty depleted. And I'm already at a level where, you know, Utgard's able to just, like, he took 2 forts from me this turn. In addition to, like, wiping out a lot of my troops. So, you can see if this continues, we could be in a bit of bad news. The fort picture doesn't look so bad, but we have the beginning of a bad trend here. We lost another 240. Okay, that we already saw that battle. That's a pretty big battle. I think we have to watch that one. I can't freaking click on it. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Okay, go to province. Okay, so this was one of the forts we tried to take. And we can see Utgard had a very high commitment defense, or a pretty damn high commitment defense. He didn't bring in a lot of his chaff, which is probably smart. He has a fair amount of demons. He has a bunch of dudes on Guard Commander. And we can see he's using these hurlers just on Guard Commander, and they make, you know, pretty good meat wall to protect his otherwise very weak casters. This is a pretty good way, I think, to play Utgard in general. You do have to worry about certain, like, Thunderstrike spam or something would kind of pick this apart, but if you're mostly fighting troops, this can be a kind of efficient formation, and even if you have things like Thunderstrike spam, this is a good formation if you have a good front line in front of it, which is going to run forward, because a lot of times the evocations will prefer the closer targets, and this will prevent any kind of, like, flying attack rear business. But here you can see Wither Bones coming down, Blade Winds, which is not really very effective. Let's click on one of the communion slaves. They have a lot of things going on them. They're lucky, they have Astral Shield, they're regenerating, they have summon Earth Power, so they've got a good amount of reinvigoration. I don't know, okay, they don't have Soul Vortex. Soul Vortex, I'm not sure how it works in a fully clustered environment like this. Probably with regen up, it would probably be okay. Especially, I don't remember if there's an MR check involved in Soul Vortex. But if you have mass regen out and like these Jotun Hurlers, they're gonna heal a lot a turn. Like 3 HP a turn. So with Soul Vortex up, it basically turns these guys into enormous kind of communion slave batteries that can do a ton of damage. And yeah, they're just going... I had 600 troops here. I didn't have a ton of things up. I had rigor mortis, and I think that's about it. But I had a lot of troops. Now, I do have nether darts come in, which can feeble-mind people. Yeah, you can see these guys are feeble-minded. Some of the slaves have gotten feeble-minded too, so we did feeble-mind some of them, so that's good. But yeah, our armies are probably about ready to break. There's another swath of nether darts. I don't know how many of these guys I got. Okay, a lot of these guys are feeble-minded. And the thing is, when a mage gets feeble-minded, they're basically dead. They will still function as a communion slave for this battle. But yeah. So even though I didn't kill a lot of these guys, we did feeble-mind a lot of them. Which will mean this particular swath of mages can't really do anything from now on until they heal. Which isn't going to be terribly easy for them to do. And our immortals are sitting back here. They're going to die. But anyway, that is the story of how we lost 670 troops. So yeah, kind of sad there. So we lost over 1,000 troops this turn. Another 200 we lost here. I think we already watched that battle. And the Ice Devil here, kind of raping us inside one of our forts, even though we had 2 Grand Lemurs in there. Not something you would expect, but anyway. Got some water gems, we got some undead, we got some pearls and some earth gems, and that's basically it. So let's talk about troop movement. Holy crap, how has it already been 30 minutes? Just looking at like the episode timer. I was hoping to do multiple per episode. This has ended up being way slow. So I'm going to try to get through this quickly and then we'll go ahead and call it. There's a few things. My main army, we're moving here. And the reason is I'm kind of going to prepare for this guy attacking my throne. And I also want to clear off, you know, people from this fort since they're kind of sieging it down. They're probably going to try to pop through this fort this turn, and I'm going to try to stop them. Yeah. These guys probably should have come with him. Oh, no. I'm doing a Lamashta attack, which I'm not actually sure if this is the right thing. So I need to move. I'm going to move my full army up this way. The Lamashta attack, basically we're going to be doing a swarm spam. Then we're going to do Power of the Spheres Horror Mark. The Horror Mark's going to make it so the Lamashtas preferentially target them, and then summon Lamashtas here. And this is basically, I think, a thug with these guys. So the Lamashtas could probably chew through a lot of these. They have, I believe, a Drain Life attack. Or no, I can't remember. Maybe they don't have a Drain Life attack, but you know, they have a shot at killing the thug, basically. But a big mass of undead is not going to do anything against him. So yeah, the Tingle Vines could hurt him too. It's going to take his defense to 0. This isn't like a great script, but it's a little desperate. It reeks of desperation. There's a chance it could work. And with different RNG now than there was when I, like, the turn processed, we'll see if maybe it works. Because I'm pretty sure in real life it doesn't. Not to spoil that one for you. But yeah, our big stack is going to be coming through this way. We've probably already talked a little bit about the script. I'll just flash it up here. We've got Darkness, Skeletal Legion, which is nice. Anti-Magic Rigor Mortis, Wailing Winds, Power of the Spheres, and I think that's it. What is this guy casting? Grip of Winter, Quagmire. So good stuff. We're all marching this way for our second fight here on the throne. Because we are also piling people over here. Got this person patrolling. He's basically going to be doing a bone grinding exercise, which I don't think we can cast. Bone grinding. You need Death 7. And so you need to get up to Death 6, and then you can use 2 Death Gems to cast it. We're only going to get up to Death 5. So I don't think this is actually going to work. If I'd given him a Skull Staff, he'd be able to do it. But we don't have a Skull Staff on him. And a Skull Staff is not a terribly high commitment thing for me to put on him. Because there's a good chance he's going to live and just run away. So that probably would have been smart, because it's almost guaranteed I'm going to get attacked. This army is definitely going to move here. This army will probably move here. And the other thing I'm doing is, a lot of these guys I'm moving in, because you don't want to move guys in when you're doing the bone grinding attack. We're just going to be moving some troops in, like about 90 here and 90 here, and they're just going to exist in this fort, and we're going to try to fill it up with dudes so that he doesn't one turn pop through the walls. That's kind of the idea here. That said, my walls are kind of weak. It's only 250, so I don't think the math is going to hold. Yeah, I think we're going to be at, yeah, there's almost no way. But anyway, that's kind of the attempt. Shore this up, move reinforcements in this way. I'm also starting to mass mages here. And I don't like massing mages inside the province that's going to be intact, or the fort that's going to be attacked. I like to mass them safely nearby. So we're getting a bunch of dudes here. I haven't really scripted them, but I've got a lab here. And then hopefully next turn they will just move over this way and kill him while he is on top of the fort. That is the plan. This fort, which is basically getting hosed, we are moving in. We're doing a few things. One is we've got these guys coming in to Wind of Death them. So we're casting Wind of Death 4 times, which is a pretty good amount, especially if these first 2 go off before anti-magic does, which is very possible. It's like a 50-50 chance for each of them, but if they both do, we'll probably inflict a decent amount of damage. Now, the only problem with this is the Gam hurtings, I don't think, will die from Winds of Death. I think the other guys will. And if we kill a bunch of hurlers, that's okay. Next turn... Does this guy not have gems? Next turn, I can potentially launch... a bigger attack. And actually, everybody who I'm pulling here can potentially run up this way and join in that attack, or come here. So I don't need to like pre-stage people here. But anyway, that's something I'm going to look to do for next turn. But this is one of the things when you're fighting Lemuria, you really don't... You can see I'm not really trying to do a straight-up fight. And that's because it's kind of tough to win. If you do a ton of mages, you can kind of win, but you can see I'm just getting my ass handed to me. And part of that is because I'm spreading my Grand Lemurs out amongst many armies. But yeah, part of the other reason is it's really hard to take a straight-up fight. So what we're doing here is we're weakening them with Wind of Death, and we're taking advantage of the turns when they don't one-turn pop my fort. And then that way they'll be weaker when we do go in and attack them. The other thing you can see me doing, this guy's coming to do Unholy Blessing, and because I took Magic Penetration as part of my Bless, it's going to make Wind of Death a bit more effective. So, anyway. Little details. We can see Storm Demons starting to mount here, and yeah. These guys were going to try to get off. They're probably going to get killed by disease demons. We also have a big group here, which we're going to try to storm this fort. If we take this, this will actually be a kind of big deal for us. Unfortunately, we don't have any gems on this guy, and we definitely need gems on the troll king. Yeah, we need them very, very badly. But we've got Darkness, Rigor Mortis, and then Wailing Winds and Rigor Mortis, which, just in case something bad happens to this guy, we're doing a double casting. Grip of Winter. I probably should have put Quagmire on this guy also, but I didn't. Yeah, we've got this guy coming to bring Earth Gems to this dude, but yeah. We'll see. Hopefully we win this. If we win this, it will kind of be okay. I'm like losing this theater of war. But if I can, and I'm now losing this one. I had been winning this theater of war. I've won a few forts down here, but this was a pretty epic loss. I lost 700 dudes. If I can win up here, guys, the dream is still alive. We can still do it. So anyway, that's it for this turn. It is going to be dicey. Utgard has my number, and he's prank calling the shit out of me. Taking my forts, locking me inside of them with a bunch of little raiding armies. And yeah, the graphs are not looking good. So, oh, yeah, okay. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.